If you are someone that has ever wanted to make mega builds, this is the video for you. You don't need any fancy equipment. All you need is vanilla Minecraft with everything that already comes in it. So today we're gonna make a fortress out of this village. I looked through about 20 villages throughout my map to find one that had the towers, and this one happened to have a few of them. You can see this structure itself is pretty good for making some kind of tower out of it that's bigger than what it really is. The idea of this build is taking these buildings that are already pre-made and put them together like this one you see here. These are actually two different buildings, and if you go break the wall, you can see it's a solid wall between the two buildings. So what we want to do is go to every single one of these buildings and use the structure block to copy all of the buildings. I'm going to show you just the basics of how to use the structure block here, and I'm going to build everything else in my building area underneath the village. So the first thing you want to know is the same as the clone command. This always clones from northwest. That's where that green line is. So if we want to copy this, the easiest way to do it is to put it on the northwest side of the build. And when we go inside, you can see the interface is pretty simple. It's got save and load by default, where you can name your structure. And you always want to make sure you name it something easy. So for us, we're going to name it VDT1, which stands for Village Desert Tower 1. If we make more towers, we'll add a 2 to it, and it'll be very simple for us to remember which save we put it in. So I don't want to copy the block itself with my tower, so I'm going to move the offset here by 1 in both Z and X. That way we don't get the block itself, and we're lucky enough that the default 5x5 is the same size for the tower, as well as most of the small buildings in most villages. I'm going to change the Y here to 10, and let me show you how high that goes. So here it is at 10 blocks high, and it's 10 blocks high from where the block is or where you have your offsets. So we need like 7 more high to bring it up all the way to its max. So we're going to type in 17, and this will bring the height of the structure block all the way to where we need it. And you can see the tower is completely in there. I don't want any chests inside, so I need to make sure that there's no chest. You can leave whatever you want inside, but for my purposes, I don't want any chests inside this village. Also remember to close the doors, because once you copy it into the structure block, it'll stay in there with the doors facing the same direction you left them. Let's save the structure real quick, and I'll show you a few more settings inside the menu. So down here we have the include entity and the remove blocks. The remove block simply just removes the block inside the structure block so you can see where the outlines are. Here we have the saving location. Save to disk is mainly for computer purposes because you can move your maps around. The showing the boundaries just turns off the boundaries so you don't see them. And let me show you real quick the entities. So if you have, let's say, any random mob inside, let's put a pigling inside here. So when he's in there, we can see him inside the tower walking around. Oh, he decided to get out. Hey, you're supposed to work with me here. Alright, let's just put another one inside and block the door. There, now you're trapped. Alright, let me go back to the block. Okay, so if we turn off or cut off some of the wall here, we can see inside, and you can see that it's including the now zombified pigling inside. He was dead when I put him in there, I swear. Alright, well, let's go back to the structure block. So let's copy this tower now that we have it saved somewhere else so you can see what it'll look like. We didn't save it with the Zegling inside, so it'll just be the tower. So all we gotta do here is we go to load and we type in the name that we put. You can see most of the settings are the same, except it won't have the perimeters of where it's being saved. It'll only have the offset of where you're copying it from that structure block. So we'll type in the simple name that we put in, VDT1. Let me show you real quick. Caps is sensitive, so you'll see that if I put a lowercase t, it didn't do anything, but now that I change this to capital, it changed to what the real structure was. So you need to be careful what you're typing in there. Aside from the include entities menu, you also have the seed number and the intensity. Those will only matter to you if you play on a PC. The seed is the seed for the world, and if you wanted to copy this into a different world, then you would just need to put that seed on it. So let me show you real quick what happens when you essentially copy this thing to another building. So here you'll see the outline. This is where the tower is going to be eating the other building. Essentially, it'll delete it and it'll just place the tower on top. But this is what we want for this map. Like, you could see already that that building itself looks like a new building. Like, you could use that somewhere else. The same as these two buildings that are exactly the same. These two buildings next to each other, so on. There's like this little farm right here. It's the same thing. So let me copy all these down and I'll come back as soon as that's finished. Alright, so we finished doing all the buildings down here, and we also did a few other buildings, like this big tower here that we just used the pyramid tops with the little tower that we found on the village. We have a few buildings here that we have together, and we'll use those together in that formation to make walls, as well as this one right here. These we found pre-made in a different village, but I liked the way that looked, so I copied those. The pyramid was also nearby, and that's what we used to do the towers on top. And to make the pyramid different, all I already did was cut it in 4 pieces and expand it and bring it up a little bit and copied and pasted throughout the whole thing. Over here we have the walls that we're going to use. We're literally just going to use the slanted wall, which is this one right here. We have the main gates, which we're only going to need 2 of those. And we have the other wall back here that is going to be most of the build itself, really. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'll show you guys in a minute how those were put together. These right here are the wells that are in the village. And this big one here is literally just the main basic well. I copied it 5 times and then I put the curved well next to it. This down here, during stream I had mentioned that it would be harder to do animations with the structure block than it would be to do animations with the command blocks, mainly because the redstone does not travel through structure blocks the same way that it travels through the command blocks. Like, you can see, yes, you can make it so that it loads the tree right there, but with the command block you can see the electricity travels farther, so it's a lot easier to do the animations with it. Also during stream I had done a build surface area, and I strongly recommend, if you're using this method, to have a build surface area, because you can easily like build on it and then erase what you don't need. Like I have this surface here, it's a 60 by 60 area, and it goes up to, I believe it was 40 blocks high, but you can save it however high you want it. and as soon as we hit load here, whatever we have built inside of that area gets deleted so that we can build more stuff afterward. And you can see we have our wall number 2 here, and we just load it back to the building area. If we wanted to change anything, we could on that. So let's fast forward real quick through some of the footage from stream so that you can see the basics of how these things were made. And I'll also show some before and after pictures of what the village looked like. Hope you enjoy. Alright, welcome back. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. So let me start by showing you some of the things I added off camera. First thing was this bridge. This was really the main reason why I wanted a fortress. The animation on the drawbridge could be a little better, but I like to have most of my builds to have some kind of moving pieces like this one's here. I also decorated some of the inside of the fortress and populated it with villagers and added some of those trees around and decorated the base of the trees. I mainly use gold to decorate it and glowstone. I finished the river around it. I did another bridge over here. It's the same bridge, just copied to this side. And I think that was about it. Like, most of it was done with the structure block, but just the basic decorations outside weren't. That's one of the main reasons why I did that off camera, because I really wanted this to be centered around the structure block. And the real beauty of all of this really shines at night. Like most builds, everything looks amazing once it's all lit up. I did try to light up most of the big structures and along the little buildings. And the streets, I did put some lights along there. And I covered up some of my structure blocks that I wanted to leave there just in case. I plan to add this to the adventure map eventually. The next projects for this might be a little more ambitious. I don't remember where I had seen it, but there was a desert village and it was like a mirage in the desert, and when the guy showed up to it, it started raining from the sky and like the sand built itself. So I want to do something like that for the adventure map. And for anybody that's interested on what makes that gate work and the sounds and everything, these are the command blocks that I used for it. Essentially it teleports a redstone down here and it sends the circuit through these. These right here are the chain sounds, so that it sounds like the bridge is being pulled, and these 4 right here are the animation for the bridge itself. And this is the difference between the structure block and the command blocks. I originally had wanted to do the whole thing with just a structure block, but you need this big circuit right here to do the animation for the bridge. And these are the sound for the chain, and that's as much as you could get without it lagging. So the structure block really makes it super laggy when you're using redstone with it, so I strongly do not recommend using structure block for this. And then these down here are the sliding doors. The reason there's so many is because I wanted the doors to move up very slowly, and the slower you want something, the more frames you're going to want. There we are, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of this project in the comments below. Also, let me know what you've used the structure block for before. This block is literally new to me. I've had it in my inventory forever, and I just never bothered touching it, and I really hate that I haven't bothered to use it. I really wish I had started using this way sooner. That is a complete game changer for map making. Alright, you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video.